مرحبا بكم مشاهدينا الكرام في أسبوع جديد وفقرة جديدة، هذه المرة مع شخصية جديدة يعني سنتحاور معها في برنامج جوجيتسو الإمارات. وللأسبوع الثاني على التوالي سيكون شخصية من أكاديمية غريسي باها. هذه المرة سيكون اللاعب شخصية ملهمة في عالم الجوجيتسو، لوسيو لاغارتو رودريغيز، الملقب طبعا بلاغارتو ومعناها باللغة العربية السحلية. سيتحدث لاغارتو في هذه الحلقة مشاهدينا الكرام عن بداياته في رياضة الجوجيتسو. بداياته يمكن كانت مثل معظم اللاعبين في السابق، يعني بداياتهم كانت في رياضات قتالية غير الجوجيتسو، بعدين مع الوقت طبعا مارس الجوجيتسو وحبها ولين اليوم هو يمارس هذه الرياضة. سيتحدث أيضا عن النظام الغذائي والنظام التدريبي، وأعتقد أن هذا شيء مهم للاعبين الناشئين والناشئات أيضا الصاعدين، لأن الجوجيتسو أسلوب حياة ولازم نتعرف على أساليب حياة هؤلاء اللاعبين المحترفين، سواء كان نظامهم الغذائي أو حتى نظامهم التدريبي. بعد ذلك أيضا يتحدث عن تاريخه ومسيرته الرياضية من حيث البطولات وحتى اللاعبين، يمكن أهم اللاعبين اللي نافسهم. من ناحية البطولات هو يمكن 5 مرات حاز على بطولة أوروبا للجوجيتسو، بجانب طبعا بطولات مختلفة منها بطولة أبوظبي العالمية لمحترفي الجوجيتسو. يتحدث أيضا عن أهم اللاعبين مثل ما ذكرت اللي لعب معاهم، أمثال رونالدو جاكاري سوزا، وأيضا اللاعب الآخر هو بوشيشة. قصة جميلة كانت مع بوشيشة في بطولة أبوظبي العالمية لمحترفي الجوجيتسو. ثم يتحول بعد ذلك عن الحديث عن تطور رياضة الجوجيتسو في بريطانيا. يمكن لاعبي الجوجيتسو يعرفون أنه هو لاعب واحد من أصل 3 لاعبين كبار موجودين حاليا في المملكة المتحدة أو بريطانيا، عندهم أكاديميات هناك. اللاعبين الآخرين هما هوجر غريسي وبراوليو أستيما، كلهم طبعا من أكاديمية غريسي باها. بعدين هناك أيضا رسالة وجهها لأحد لاعبينا الصاعدين، لاعب منتخبنا الوطني للناشئين أو الشباب حميد ياسر الكعبي، تحدث عنه في هذه المقابلة. ولكن بالنسبة لي مشاهدين الكرام يمكن أهم من كل هذا هو حديثه عن صراعه مع المرض الخبيث وكيف انتصر عليه بفضل الجوجيتسو وبفضل طبعا أمور كثيرة سيتحدث عنها في هذا الحوار. إذا مشاهدينا الكرام ليس فقط بطلا على البساط ولكنه بطلا في الحياة، لوسيو لاغارتو رودريغيز. لنشاهد الحوار.
ما زلنا نتواصل معكم في حلقة اليوم من جوجيتسو الإمارات، ونحن تحديدا في العاصمة البريطانية لندن لكي نلتقي أحد أهم أساطير لعبة الجوجيتسو في العالم.
My name is Lucio Rodrigues, but everybody call me Lagarto. The meaning of Lagarto in Portuguese, lizard.
نقترب من أحد أهم الأبطال الكبار للعبة الجوجيتسو، البطل لوسيو رودريغوس والملقب بالسحلية.
My first contact with Jiu-Jitsu was in my very young age. I was a little boy with my grandfather, but I didn't really like it. You know, he was pushing me to train. My grandfather, he has a great contact with Helio Grace, actually in the army. But my first contact with Jiu-Jitsu, like I started to take serious, was when I was around 12 years old. And, you know, just my friends was training, and I wanted to be better than my friends. And I was mixing my time between surf and train Jiu-Jitsu. You know, it's a big thing in Rio de Janeiro, actually. All the Jiu-Jitsu guys surf. And so that was my lifestyle pretty much, and still surf and Jiu-Jitsu. I started as a white belt, and I remember my first competition I lost in the first fight, and the second I lost in my second fight. To be honest, I lost a lot of times, and I was not very talented. I was very difficult. I always had a big problem to catch up. I can see my friends was way better than me, but I have something they didn't have, you know. I have the will, I really want to win. I really want to be better than my friends. And then when I come to the academy, my friends, the talent boys, they used to do, you know, to learn the technique and do once. And I got the technique wrong. I was not that good, but I keep on trying, but I was doing for thousands of times. And, you know, I felt that's make a big difference. And I noticed I had a feeling the first time I was just waiting to get my first time to do good in the first competition. I knew once I do good in the first competition, after it's going to be easier. You know, I will know the path. And that's what happened. I won my first tournament, and after that, the things get easier. Still not a big challenge. I still have to train super hard, but I knew I could do it. I knew I was able to do it as long as I dedicate myself.
عدم الاستسلام وأن تكون مقتنع بحلمك وأن تصر على تحقيقه هو أفضل ما تفعله لنفسك في ظل ما يقدمه لك الآخرون من مساعدات سواء على مستوى الأسرة أو المدربين. ويبقى أن يكون هناك جهة كالاتحاد يرعى الأبطال ويقيم البطولات الكبيرة، فتكتمل الصورة ليكون هناك أجواء مناسبة تساهم في تحقيق ما تحلم به.
Because I always thought about if I have to give up about some things, it's to give up about give up, you know? I never want to really give up things in my life. Once when I put a target to something, once I believe and I really want to achieve something, I'm going to give 100%. I'm going to push everything what I have. I'm going to give everything what I have to achieve that. And I believe everybody, every single individual, every human being can do whatever they want as long as they believe. And that was my philosophy of life, you know. I always believed, I knew I could do it, and I did it, you know. My dream was to live. I remember when I was 12 years old, my first dream was to be better than my friends. I managed. I did it. I was better than my whole friends. When I became a teenager, my dream was to be good, to show up to the girls. So the girls look at me and say, wow, man, this is the man. And I got the attention of the girls with my skills. That was an amazing feeling. But I realized that life was way more than that, you know. And I started turning, you know, an adult, and my father, he started to ask me, you know, about the results in life, how I'm gonna survive, how I'm gonna do this. And then my dream became to live through Jiu-Jitsu. That time, we didn't have a UA Jiu-Jitsu Federation supporting the sport. We didn't have we just had few competitions, you know, around the world. And it was hard to live through Jiu-Jitsu. People don't really believe in Jiu-Jitsu. People was look at Jiu-Jitsu as a bad thing. And then eventually, Jiu-Jitsu become, you know, what it is today. Thanks, you know, Sheikh Tarnoon. Thanks, you know, a lot of things, you know, from you know, the sports growing, the level. Today, the people really can live through Jiu-Jitsu. But in that time was way harder. And I managed to build up my house. I managed to live, you know, from Jiu-Jitsu, you know. So I'm really glad. I believe in my dreams.
خلال تطلعك لأن تصبح بطل في لعبة الجوجيتسو سيكون هناك صعوبات مختلفة ومتنوعة، لكن المهم أن تصر على النجاح حتى إذا وقعت في الاختبار الأول لك، ولا تلتفت لمن يحاول أن يزعزع عزيمتك لعدم اقتناعك به. إنها المعادلة الصعبة في مشوار تحقيق النجاحات.
I felt, I could not really believe, because every single person was pointing me as a super. They always point out, never gonna be able to get, to win. They was taking me for like a spoiled boy, no talent. And then when I did it the first time, everybody thought, that was just luck, And that for me was an amazing feeling, because since that moment, I proved not just for myself, but I proved for my whole friends and my whole community that was possible. So after that, a lot of my friends who thought they would not be able to do it, they start to train as well, and they start to believe in themselves, way more. Yeah, I got my black belt in 2004. It's been a while, and that was amazing because I got the black belt from Carlos Gracie Jr., the guy who has a big influence in the sport, and I always admire him so much, and for everything what have done. Because Jiu-Jitsu today, what you have today, a lot of people have food on the table today because that man. Because he believed in a dream, nobody really believed it. He believed he could make the Jiu-Jitsu know what Jiu-Jitsu is today.
بطل الجوجيتسو العالمي لوسيو رودريغوس يثمن دور العديد من الأشخاص في دعم رياضة الجوجيتسو عالميا، مثل كارلوس غريسي وأبوظبي العاصمة العالمية للعبة، وما حدث من تطور غير طبيعي للعبة في الإمارات التي تحتضن العديد من أصدقائه سواء من أقرانه أو من أبناء الدولة كفيصل الكتبي.
Years ago, I used to hear Carlos Gracie Jr. saying his dream was to see a school of Jiu-Jitsu in every city in the world. And today we have Jiu-Jitsu in every city in the world. Change people's life through the Jiu-Jitsu. That's what Sheikh Tahnoun, he believes so much in the sport because he saw the benefits what the Jiu-Jitsu can bring for the human being. And today, when I see this, when I come to Abu Dhabi and I see how big the sport is over there, that's make my heart full of happiness, And I can see a lot of champions come from that place in a very short period, I have a very good friend. His nickname is Cavallo. He's a guy from training there really hard. Super talented boy, He loves the Jiu-Jitsu. He knows about everybody. He knows the game of everybody. That shows us how the Jiu-Jitsu is changing life in UAE. That shows us how guys who didn't have any contact with the sport, with a lifestyle, a completely different way of life, that showed the view of Sheikh Tahnoun, the dream becoming through. In a very short time, there's a lot of champions gonna come. I had the chance to fight against his name, Faisal. Yeah, tough boy. Look, Faisal is already a project from UAE. It's already, he always fight there face-to-face with the top guys, you know. So it's, I have a great match, Faisal. He nearly beat me, you know. Luckily, you know, I managed to win in Japan. We had a great match. And, you know, that's what I believe, you know, in the sport is getting, every time getting better and better in UAE. That's nice.
لوسيو رودريغوس كونه يعرف أن لقاءه سيبث عبر شاشة أبوظبي الرياضية، فبعث برسالة لصديقه الذي يعيش فيها كافالو.
Cavallo, yes, of course. Cavallo, my brother, soon I'm gonna be there. And you know, it's always so good to have you in my corner, you know, shout at me and send me good vibes. And I will be the same. I'm gonna be there with you, send you all the vibe, help you as much as I can, yes? Actually, Cavallo, in one of my fights, I just finished the fight and I just gave him my black belt, and he promised the day he gets his black belt, that's the belt he's gonna wear. So Cavallo, soon gonna wear this belt, man.
كي تصبح بطل كبير لابد أن تضحي، فالأمر يتطلب مجهود كبير وتدريب لسنوات وخوض مباريات قوية ومثيرة، وسيمر عليك أوقات عصيبة جدا. يا له من مشوار كبير للأسطورة لوسيو رودريغوس.
I fought the biggest fight. I had a lot, you know. In 2003, I got the brown belt. Just before I got the black belt, I got a great match, a great fight against Ronaldo Jacaré. He's in the UFC now. That fight was a very big mark in my life. I will explain you why. I came from a very humble and simple family, but I had a lot of pressure from my parents to be someone. And I let go everything in my life to dedicate my life to Jiu-Jitsu. Everything. When I say about everything, it's everything. Girlfriends, parties, you know. Sometimes I have to choose between eat and pay the bus. I could not afford both. I give up everything. I have everything to go. And that year, Ronaldo Jacaré lost in 2000. In 2002, he lost to Roger Gracie in the final of Open Division. Because of that, his master put him another year. He let him another year competes in the brown belt until he win the Open Division. So for 1 year, Jacaré was killing everybody. He was winning all the tournaments without nobody score even one advantage. And I knew, in my heart, the only way for me, the people know me, was to do good against Jacaré. I was waiting the whole year to face Jacaré in the Worlds. I got his picture, I put it in my bedroom, and every day I was watching his face, and I was waiting for that moment. I was waiting for that right moment. And I was training really, really hard. And then, after a lot of fights, me and Jacaré was in the final. And I remember, you know, I even feel goosebumps, man. I remember the time, all the crowd, because Jacaré was very connected with Tererê, and Tererê, when he come to fight, he bring the whole favelas to the mat. So the guys put a lot of energy, you know, shouting to Jacaré. And I remember the guy used to sing De olho azul e anelzinho, o lagarto é tremendo playboyzinho. The meaning is, if blue eyes and little ring, lagarto's a big playboy. Because I came from Gracie Barra, and the guy have this idea of Gracie Barra, the guy's a playboy and all these, just jokes. But the environment was amazing that day. I knew that was the chance to prove to myself, to prove to the world, and to write down my name in the history of the sport. We had an amazing fight. To be honest, I thought I was winning, so when the fight finished, I celebrate. You have this fight on YouTube, you guys can watch. But the referee made few mistakes, but it was quite hard. We couldn't really judge because it was quite difficult. But in the end, I lost. But since that day, I lost by points, but since that day, the people knew who was Lagarde. The people start to look at me differently, and the people start to respect me in the sport. And I start to see guys like I always look as my heroes, like Holly Grace, Hickson Grace, all these guys, they start to talk to me, and they start to know my name, you know? That blows my mind. And that fight was, I could say, was one of the hardest fights in my life. And after, I had a chance to fight against Marcos Buchecha in 2011 in the World Pro Cup. And that was the fight, that was the second one, I could say the biggest in my life, for a few reasons. Buchecha was pointing to be the biggest name in the world in the Jiu-Jitsu in that time, and today he is. Buchecha, he was killing everybody for the whole year. I was teaching a lot. I have to share my time between teaching, seminars. I'm a businessman, professor, family guy, so a lot of things to share in between. But one thing that people forgot, I was just coming back from a very hard treatment. I had just come back from cancer. And that moment, I have to prove to myself I could do it. I have to prove to my family I could do it. But the most important I want to do it was not to my family, was not to the people who was not to my family, was not to the doctor who told me I'd not be able to do it. But I wanted to inspire people all over the world through my story. I want to be able to, through my story, support and help people who pass for this big challenge in life, you know? And I managed to win. I managed to win, and I won for good points against the biggest name of the history. I remember I just turned that year 30 years old, and Buchecha was 20. And that was also a big time, and it was a big fight. And since then, me and Buchecha never really had the chance to fight again. And in the semi-tournaments, I had the chance to beat one of my heroes, Alexandre Ribeiro. Because Alexandre Ribeiro, he put me in third place in the world 3 times. I got my black belt in 2004, in 2005, 2006, and 2007. I was third place because of Alexandre Ribeiro. And I always look at Xande, you know, as the guy to follow, you know. And in 2011, I was there, faced Xande again. But that year was my year. And I got him. I beat him, and the same time, the same day, I beat José Jr., the guy who is there with you guys, super tough guy, super talent. And I managed to beat also Marcos Buchecha. So that was a very special time for me, you know.
الأسطورة لوسيو رودريغوس محارب رياضي لمرض لعين هاجمه بشراسة لكنه تحداه كأنه يلاعب منافس عنيد لكنه غير شريف. فالخبرة الكبيرة التي يمتلكها لوسيو في حياته المهنية تعلم منها الكثير ليتغلب بها على مرض اللعين.
Before, I used to train a lot of hours. When you're young, you make a lot of mistakes. You spend a lot of time. The right way to say, you waste a lot of time of training. Because they don't really know how to train. So you think as much you train, better you get it. No, really. Because when you train wrong and you start to put a lot of time doing wrong things, maybe you're going to be able in these hours do something right. But you're going to get injuries, you're going to make your body tired, you get overtraining. So for many years, I was doing this. I was training like 8 hours a day. Now, I have to share my time between my students, between my classes, between my seminars. But when everything's right, I usually I train in the morning, jiu-jitsu, from 11 till 1 o'clock every day. And then I train in the evenings, in the afternoon, usually from 5 to 6. Also, I do my conditional training every day between for another 2 hours. So I'm still training a lot, you know. But the main idea now, I don't kill myself sparring that much. I spar, but the main idea is to every day leave the mat if I knew lesson, if I knew detail, okay? Before I used to make this mistake, I don't make this mistake anymore. You know, that's the main challenge. Because if you keep training every day and make the same mistakes over and over again, it's a waste of time. About the food, I always ate super clean, always, all my life. A lot of people think I ate clean because after cancer. No, I always in my life I ate clean. That's why today I'm 36 years old, and I'm still fighting for the guys 20 years old. You know, who can do that? But I mean, what I'm saying, fighting is not to go there, shake hands and fight and, okay, very well done, go home. No, I fight and I go to the final. I fight and I win. I fight and I do the results. I have the results, you know. Of course, you know, it's not always, competition always up and down, but it's not about the age, it's about the guy was better than me, and that's it. I never drink alcohol in my life. I don't use drugs at all. I love sugar, but I avoid them a lot. You know, the sugar, if I eat a sugar, like I love Ferrero Rocher, I eat a box. Bah! But that's not my, is everything about the habits, you know? If you do this every day, then that's bad. But pretty much I'm a super clean, you know, I try to eat every like 3 hours, and I have the amount of calories I need to eat, you know. The hardest thing for me is the amount. I eat super clean, but I have to really keep my eyes on the amount. Otherwise I drop weights too quickly. I start in the morning for like 100 kilos, 90, 80 kilos, and then when I go to bed, I realize I'm like 4 kilos down. So I lose a day 3 kilos very quickly. So I need to keep my eyes on my weight all the time, you know. And, you know, I never took any drugs, including steroids. I never took it, you know. So that's another challenge. Because of being a lot of guys there fighting, the guys super sharp, super good jiu-jitsu, but also the guys take a lot of things, you know. So that's a lot of challenge, you know. But that's what I love. I love this challenge. So as I said, every time when I talk about this, a big story comes in my mind, you know. It's a lot of memories. I could say that was the best time of my life. It's weird to say, but that's helped me to become a better human being. I remember when I moved to Preston, is north of UK. I had a deal with one guy in the north. I supposed to come and start my jiu-jitsu there. And the guy even didn't show up in the airport. So I was there for my suitcase, and he even didn't show up there. And my first black belt, Professor Paul Hartley, he went there to pick me up. And he never told me that story. He told me after 10 years. That day, I was there just to let you know you have to go back to Brazil. because the guy was not there to pick you up. But he did completely different. He took me for his house, and he looked after me. And since that day, I started, to put a lot of time in the Jiu-Jitsu North in Preston. And that, in the same year, I got diagnosed with cancer, Hodgkin lymphoma. It's not every day you have news like that, right? And the first questions come in my mind was, why me? Why me, God? I always was so, I believe in God so much, and that I could not accept. I thought God forgot about me, and he was trying to punish me for something. But in reality, no. In the reality, he was giving me a very good present. He was giving me the chance to become a better person, Because of that sickness, I put my family together as I never ever seen. I put all my friends together, and I start to appreciate the life way more. I start to see every little detail I was not paying really attention. I always loved to surf. How many times I was in the water surfing, and I was complaining and screaming because the waves didn't come. How many times I was training, I was in the competition, and I got upset because I didn't get in the first place. How many times I was frustrated with myself. After that sickness, I started to see that life was way more than that. I started to surf. While the wave was not coming, I was watching how beautiful is the water touching our skin. How beautiful was the wind in contact with our body. How beautiful was the turtles around me, and I never really noticed. To be in the wave become just a little detail. How beautiful was to be there competing, to see your opponent look at you and be scared of you. How beautiful was that? I had the chance to put myself in the biggest tournament in Rio de Janeiro after chemotherapy. And during the chemotherapy. And I remember that day, I put my friend, Dr. Alexandre, just beside the mat. And he said, why are you gonna do this? You don't have to do this. You don't have to prove anything. I said, I just wanna see what can I do. I just wanna be part of this party again. I just wanna enjoy life. I have a completely different mindset now. And when I start to compete, I win the first fight, I win the second fight, the third fight, the fourth, final. That was in the final against the biggest boy, the big boy that who lives in Abu Dhabi now, Evangelista. And I beat Evangelista. But the people didn't know I was sick. I was super weak. My body was super weak. I was not trying to prove the point to nobody. The only thing I want to do is to be on the mat, competing and put myself in the challenge and enjoy every single minute. And in that moment, something happened, make me appreciate the life in such a different way. When the doctors, they asked me how they want to do the treatment, they gave me two options. To do from the catheter, the guy's gonna put it through my veins here, but I'll not be able to train, I'll not be able to surf. Or through my veins. The problem to do through my veins, eventually the veins are gonna start to dry, and the points, they will not see the veins anymore. And it's gonna hurt. And I choose through the veins. It was hurting. A lot of times I went to the hospital, the nurses come to put the treatment in my veins, and they start to shake and cry. And I just hold the hand of the nurse, we pray together, and I say, go again, try this vein here. And it always works. Since that moment, after a while, my veins completely dry. We could not see anything. But that day of the competition, I remember my friend, the doctor, Dr. Alexandre, who was just by the mat. Then my kimono got stuck on my forearm. Because when you fight, the arms pump a lot because the grip. And then the kimono got stuck on the arm, and I could see my whole veins again. Everything. That showed me I was alive again. That moment blows my mind. Because a lot of, even the doctor, they said that's not going to be possible. and I managed to go over this. And you know, every time the guys ask, but Lagarto, how did you overcome this so easily, you know? And everything, like exactly like competition. I was looking this phase of my life as a competition. So some days was hard. So I looked this was a hard opponent, you know? And I never, ever, even for 1 second, I thought about to give up. I knew 100% I would overcome it. But the doctor told me a few things. I'll not be able to compete again. I'll not be able to have a child. And the chance to die was really big. And that time I was married. As soon as he said that, my wife started to cry, you know? And for some reason, I was not scared at all. I think from that moment, I just realized one thing. All of us is dying every single day. But some of us, we're never really gonna live. We die every single day. We have a beautiful life, but some of us don't really appreciate it. We don't even notice. We're gonna come in this world, we're gonna live for a couple of years, and gonna live and gonna die. I had a great chance. I had a great life. And then what I thought, if I die tomorrow, I'm happy. Then I started to live intensively, as every single day was my last one. And luckily, the doctor was wrong, because I got my health back. I became a world champion again. And today, I support a lot of people around the world. I inspire a lot of people. I help a lot of people. And if you really want to make me happy today, it's not really about gold medals. I have a lot of gold medals. It's when I manage to put a smile and I manage to change someone's life. That's every time when I see someone have a better life because they have somehow a contact with me, because they have somehow I managed to help him in some way, I feel this my mission is accomplished, you know.
مشوار طويل وصعب عاشه الأسطورة لوسيو رودريغوس لكي يصل للقب بطل العالم، ورغم ذلك فهو ما زال يحافظ على قدراته ويعمل على تنميتها من أجل التألق على أبسطة النزال رغم السن الذي وصل له الآن.
Yes, you know, for 10 years, I tried to get my visa to America. The guy was denying my visa for so many years. And just last year, I managed to get it. I fought the world, but I was not trained at all. I just come back for injury. I could not really perform the way how I was supposed to. I lost the first fight. And that moment for me was very sad, because that was my dream. You know, since young, I always put myself, I dedicate everything. And the guys just destroyed the history, you know. I could be like, you know, I could win this world so many times. I saw so many guys who came years after me, the guys who was fighting against me all the time. And the guys now, you know, world champion twice, 3 times world champion, 4 times world champion. And I didn't even have a chance to do it. You know, that was not fair. And I believe in this year, when I was in the European, so many things was going on in my mind. I had a chance to fight against Muhammad Ali, the boy who's killing everybody. And we had a great match, you know. I believe I never really give excuse when I lose, I really lose. because I never believe I lose. You know, to be honest, I prefer to don't get the gold medal sometimes because I always learn in the process. You know, of course I'm there to win. If I don't win, you know, I always try. I get more knowledge when I lose than when I get the gold medal. Because when I get the gold medal, I think I'm the man. Then I don't really, you know, put a lot of attention. But that match, I think I'm supposed to win. The referee, you know, make a few mistakes there. But in the end of the day, the guys put his hands up. I made a huge mistake. In the end of the final, I have a couple of advantages. I just could play backwards, but I'm a fighter, you know. I always fight looking for the submission. I always fight looking for to score, to give my best. I could not just run away. So in the last second, he threw me, and he scored the points. But that's supposed to be points a couple of times in the guard passes. But anyway, my dream, and then since then, I put my belt on the floor, and I thought about, that's it. It's enough now, you know. I did everything. I compete so much. I'm on this world for so many times. I'm 36 years old, fight against the young boys. But I got back home. I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna fight masters, you know, all this. But I got back home, and I was feeling I was missing an arm. Something changed deeply inside me. I was a week sad about this. And I was talking to my godson a lot about it, you know. And we decided to look at things a different way. I didn't put my belts on the floor to retire. I put my belt on the floor to retire the old man, because now I'm going to start everything again. I'm going to get a new belt, and I'm going to start to compete as a young boy again until I become a world champion. I want to fight this world now in America. I'm going to give my best, but I will train properly to get it there, you know, and do my best. And also, and now very soon, in a month's time, I believe, a few weeks, in the UAE, yeah, in Abu Dhabi over there, I wanna fight the worlds. Over there, I will fight as a masters, you know, because I never have the experience to fight there as a master. But in America, I will fight as an adult. So I want to give my chance. I want to try as a dream for myself. It's going to be amazing if I could write my name once again as a world champion. And that's my dream.
الأسطورة لوسيو رودريغوس يرى أن الوضع لرياضة الجوجيتسو اختلف عن سابقه، سواء في أوروبا بشكل عام أو في لندن البريطانية التي التقينا فيها البطل الكبير.
Not only in London, but in the whole UK, the jiu-jitsu grows incredible. You know, it's huge now. I remember like 10 years ago, the guys used to travel like 3 hours driving to come train with me back in Preston. I still have a school there, Grace Barra Preston, so the guys used to travel all over to come training with me over there. And now, you have a lot of black belts all over. You know, that's amazing to see how the sports grow, you know. And I'm really happy to make part of this, to make part of the history of the sport here, you know. It's, now you see a lot of English black belts. You see the guys doing good in the tournaments. I see a lot of girls, a lot of kids, you know. Jiu-jitsu I don't look as a martial arts. I look at a lifestyle, you know. It's like a lifestyle. All the respect is a lifestyle with a Brazilian souls, you know. That could not be better, is it? It's like, and I feel so happy to be able to give this to my students. I'm so happy to show the people, to my students, their life is more than wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning until 5 p.m. come home and drink a cup of tea and watch BBC. You know, their life is way more than that. And the guys start to realize. The guys try to travel around the world with me. The guys start to train hard. The guys start to eat better. The guys start to have a proper meals instead of just a sandwich. The guys, you know, I can see not just about the sport, bar and chokes and footlocks, you know. Jiu-Jitsu is way more than that. Jiu-Jitsu is about life change. My students who train, like Professor Paul, Professor Stallone, a lot of guys, I see these guys today, these guys look younger than 10 years ago. How come? That's their lifestyle. That's the dedication they have through the sport. You know, so, and I see this now, the next 10 years, I believe UK gonna be one of the biggest, you know, in the world of Jiu-Jitsu. You know, have a lot of guys put a lot of time here, myself, Roger Grace, Braulio Stima, Victor Stima, you know, and also a lot of English people, you know, who are wearing a black belt under us, who doing a great job.
الأسطورة لوسيو رودريغوس يرى أن دولة الإمارات لها دور كبير في أن تتحول لعبة الجوجيتسو من مجرد هواية يعشقها من يمارسها إلى لعبة محترفة يمكن أن تكون مصدر دخل لمن يمارسها.
The first person who could point, who changed the scenario of the jiu-jitsu, you know, the gi, you know, all this, as I said before, was my master, Carlos Gracie Jr. The second person I could point was very super important in the whole scenario in the world was Sheikh Tarnoum. Because Sheikh Tarnoum, everybody started to look at the jiu-jitsu in a different way, you know, as a professional way. And now the UAE Jiu-Jitsu Federation changed lives. How many of my friends living now in UAE, they can feed the family, they can live the dream, they work for the government back in UAE, have tournaments all over the world. It's a dream. That's amazing. The guy can now, if he, the jiu-jitsu athlete now, finally, he really can live through jiu-jitsu. He really can live, if he want, he can fight nearly every month in a different place in the world. And you know, if a decent money, you know, and he can feel proud, he can be, you know, like have his family, you know, that's amazing. I'm really glad of, you know, UAE Jiu-Jitsu Federation. I'm really glad for all the opportunity you guys gave to us and for the whole Jiu-Jitsu, you know, family. And, you know, I'm really happy to see how that changed so many lives, you know. And I hope, you know, that's gonna carry on for many years and who knows, even forever, you know. Before, you could smell the jiu-jitsu in Rio de Janeiro. It was beautiful, you know, like the world was there in Tijuca Tennis Club. Then now the guys put the jiu-jitsu, the world's back in California. But that's true. When you come to Abu Dhabi, when you come to Dubai there, is a different environment. It's so cool to see all over you go. The guys talk about jiu-jitsu, pictures. You guys make us feel what we really deserve. You guys make us feel as stars on the sport. When you get there, you know, when you see all this, that's making me think like years ago when my father and my friend was telling me, are you crazy? What you guys talking about, the jiu-jitsu? You never go anywhere with this jiu-jitsu? Well, glad they was wrong. Really happy they were wrong. And today I really see Abu Dhabi and Dubai as a capital of jiu-jitsu. It's beautiful to see that. It's beautiful to see guys like Roberto Gordo, the guy who never really want to leave Brazil, live there now, teaching, helping, and supporting such, you know, beautiful, you know, families as in the UAE, you know. It's beautiful to see that. It's beautiful to see big masters living in UAE now, and not only teaching jiu-jitsu, but teaching the Brazilian lifestyle, to be, you know, a decent person, to eat well, you know, to behave well, to represent the jiu-jitsu with a good, you know, posture as a human being. It's beautiful.
طبيعي أن يثمن الأسطورة لوسيو رودريغوس دور صاحب السمو الشيخ محمد بن زايد آل نهيان ولي عهد أبوظبي ونائب القائد الأعلى للقوات المسلحة على ما قدمه لرياضة الجوجيتسو.
The big responsible for all of this project, you know, in the UAE, and these dreams becoming true, we cannot forget about Sheikh Mohammed. You know, that's a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work, and he's the guy who's taking our jiu-jitsu for the next level. Thank you very much, Sheikh Mohammed.